Good afternoon, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Howell.
First, when it comes to jail credit, this court sentenced the defendant to 93 days contempt of court consecutive to the underlying files.
Yes.
I have already formally acknowledged to the court that I have made false allegations and provided false information, and I have accepted responsibility for my consequences of those actions. I have also made it clear that the father of my children is not a threat to me or our children. Most importantly, I think about our children. We have 4 children under the age of 4 who need both of their parents. Every day I'm faced with questions, tears, confusion, and the heartbreaking reality that their father is not home with them. I, as a mother, struggle to find the words to explain why he is absent from their lives. 4 years old, have recently been diagnosed with autism. As we begin to navigate therapies, appointments, and developmental challenges and the uncertainties that come with this diagnosis, I find myself at a loss for words. One of our children has never even had the opportunity to meet their father. He has missed milestones, first everythings, and most importantly, memories that can never be recreated. I understand I cannot change the past, but I hope my honesty, my accountability, and my sincere remorse will be taken into consideration. Above all else, I hope for an outcome that allows our children to have the chance of learning love from their father.
I find your statement very sad. You didn't do anything wrong. I understand how very difficult it is to be a single mom. I am a single mom. For most of my life, I worked 5 jobs to pay for those kids. I never received child support. I get it. But here's the thing, man. You chose your kids. And that's the most important decision you could make. I don't believe that you lied, ma'am, and I'll tell you why. The officer noted Beauchamp's visible injuries, including red marks on her neck, a cut on the inside of her bottom lip, and redness and swelling around her right eye. The officer took photographs. You were seeing black dots. He tried to stop you from exiting. You tried to push past him. He punched you in the face a number of times with closed fists. The evidence shows that, man. You want your children to learn love? They cannot do that if there's violence in the home. What children will learn is that love means getting punched, getting strangled, getting scratched and pushed, and all those things that happened between you and him. Love means pulling a gun out. Love means getting struck in the head with the end of a gun. All those things that happen to you, your children learn the definitions of words by what they see and what they hear, what they feel, and what they have been through. Watching you getting beaten and demoted and demeaned. He's the father of your children, and being a good mom, you do not want your children to think poorly of their dad. But man, he's caused them emotional trauma. He's caused you physical and emotional trauma. To the point where you feel guilty about what he did. You feel like you put him behind bars. The only one that put him behind bars is him. I had to hold him in contempt for 93 days because of his behavior. He likes control. He likes the power that he has over people who are not as strong as him. If you die in his hands, you can't be a mom anymore. We can only protect your children by locking him up and getting him treatment. Otherwise, it's going to happen again and again until someone dies, or maybe you lose an eye or an arm. I have seen all of those cases, man. You don't deserve to take blame that does not belong to you, or to tell this court that this didn't happen, because I know it did, because this isn't just you talking. Law enforcement did a good job of documenting your injuries, man. In the heat of the moment, you told the truth. And I want to tell you how brave you are and how proud you should be that you are before this court. But please, tell yourself the truth. Get into some therapy. Don't keep choosing the kind of man that shows love with a fist. He can't be a dad and he can't be a significant other or husband. He just cannot be. He needs some significant time behind bars and treatment. Otherwise, he is a danger and you may end up with a dead child. You can watch my court on Zoom. You can come in here and watch it. You can watch any other judge. We see that regularly.
Am I asking, for him to pay for like therapies?
For therapy or anything else that happened as a result of this, that is your right to ask for.
I'm asking that you consider not only, yes, my mental health, and I will be going to therapy and taking it serious and getting on the road to heal and prosper. His mental is very deteriorating as well.
Well, we're gonna get him treatment, but he needs to pay for your treatment, ma'am. I don't know, there's a crime victims fund, there are certain ways you get paid for. I don't know what's in play for you, but any of the co-pays that you're responsible for, he should pay, so I'm gonna order that.
Non-stop communication or attempts to communicate from the defendant to the victim since the arraignment at district court. I have had to present to judges, I think 5 or 6 times, evidence that this defendant has been contacting the victim in violation of his contact order, that he would continue to try and find ways around that. Video visits, calls, messages. He would use other inmate accounts. He would tell her to get numbers. He would try and use fake names. He tried sending it to a fake name, Tammy Lavina, but it was to an address that had belonged to the victim. And of course, he signed in it, Tyrone Howell gave his entire inmate number as well as the entire contact information for the jail. He writes, "Dear Queen, hey, how's everything going? I hope okay. Thanks for not letting me know the gender of our starseed, let alone the name," which is very foul. You know I'm really trying to have a very positive outlook on things, especially when it comes to us. I mean, if us is even a thing anymore. I wouldn't know. I can only assume we're still. I can only assume you're still waiting on me, waiting on my return, just letting you know every night I think of you and our starseed. It's very stressful when I haven't heard from you since September 20th, while still confused about what I did. Like, can't you please have some sort of respect for us and all we have and been through, to tell me what I truly did wrong, for you to leave me on stuck, to leave me on silent, to not allow me to hear our starseed's voices, which again is foul. No one deserves to be treated how you doing me. I really thought you had a pure heart. Please don't do me like that. I love you, Queen, and forever will tell the boys how much I love them, and happy birthday to M. I love you all dearly, and I wish I was home with you. I pray for us every night. I hope you still want us as bad as I do. You said you could wait 3 years. Don't allow our starseeds to see you with another. I need you badly, and I pray you still want and need me also. Any way to give you an update on these cases? They still try to send me up the road. I need you to please show up to my court date on the 28th of January. Not sure the time, but you can look on 30th Circuit Court page. Find Aquilina and find my name to see the time. But I need your help, please, to win these cases. Please don't allow me to spend years away when you can help me. I just need you to either show up and let them know I'm innocent, or may you write a letter to Aquilina, please, her address. And then there's another letter he put in here. I miss every part of you. If you're doing this to hurt me, you're winning the roll-up. But I would never, the roll-up, that is what was written. But I would never just leave you in jail not knowing anything pertaining to us. Like, don't you think I want to know our newborn name? Correct? Yes, I do. I cry at least once a week thinking about you and the kids. I cried on their birthdays, knowing I'm not there. And I'm crying now because I'm not there to protect them, nor you, from this cruel world we live in. Queen, please don't let them grow up without a dad like I did. We owe it to them. I owe it to them. We used to talk daily, and I even got more charges added because of doing so. Then now you just cut me off. Please show up to court and send a letter. Please keep trying. And he has been telling her from the beginning of this case, this is her fault. He has been telling her that she needs to come and say what she said today to try and make this all go away. He has been telling her as recently as 5:08 p.m. yesterday, because he continued to call her, calling his friend Dorian Price and having him, or I think it was Pierce, having him do a three-way call with the victim and telling her it's also her fault for all of the contacts that have happened in violation of the court's orders, instructing her to come to court, make a victim impact statement, and they also to specify about how she needs him out for their children. This man won't stop. His attorney did a fantastic job advocating for him and negotiating with me to give me a plea deal that I did not want to give, which was the 36 months. He then asked for his phone privileges to be reinstated after the umpteenth time of him being caught and confronted in court. He was told over and over by myself, by the court, and by his own attorney, over and over, the only thing that can lose you these 36 months is misconduct in between plea and sentence, which can cover many things, but specifically for you, do not continue to contact the victim. If you violate the no contact order again between plea and sentence, you will lose this 36 months. Don't do it. And then he did it. He did it using other inmate accounts again. He did it having her use a completely new phone number and having her use a completely different person's name. He tried to take numerous steps to evade this in his calls, to evade detection, trying to refuse to refer to her by name. Even at one point saying, this definitely isn't the victim. This is Taylor Hollingsworth, right? On Monday, after that hearing, he continued to message Dorian Price and at 9:01 p.m. on Monday say, WTW, I don't know what that's abbreviation for. Brother, text Whoop and say, I'm gonna give my lawyer her number. She gotta be Taylor. They're trying to give me 5 years. He then did a video visit with him, reiterating, check your messages, check your text, check the text I sent. She needs to talk to my lawyer. She has to be Taylor, the fake name. I said on Monday, I was looking to have the Kilbrews nullified by his actions, and instead of 36 months, I was going to be asking for 5 years. I said on Monday that's my intent was. And then he continued to violate the orders of the court and then try and even use his lawyer, unknowing to her, to commit a fraud upon this court. Opposing counsel sent me an email to that effect on Thursday and reached out to me again today to continue very effectively advocating for her client, advocating for me to give him mercy and grace. He continued to contact her last night, again, as late as 5:08 p.m., off another inmate account, off another way to try and evade detection. He will not stop. He has been given every opportunity to prove to this court that he will not continue to violate the orders of this court or to commit new felonies. If I wanted to, I could charge him with about 9 different counts of felony witness interference, and now I think potentially conspiracy to suborn perjury.
And stalking.
And potentially stalking. And that's without even addressing the underlying facts of this case, which is that he keeps beating the mother of his children. He keeps doing it while on bond. One of the cases that was dismissed didn't involve her. It involved drug possession. He committed that while absconding from probation for his other case, which that probation was terminated afterwards. I'm not asking for 5 years anymore. I'm asking you to sentence him to the top of the guidelines consecutively across his files. That being 24 months consecutive with 67 months in file 25-5593 FH. Because he chose this over and over. He chose these actions. He chose these consequences, and he tried to rope in the mother of his child. He had the mother of his child in front of this court just admit to what are felonies, that he knows are felonies, lying to officers, because he doesn't care. He made this choice. Give him what he's asked for.
He did take responsibility this afternoon earlier with regard to not running the evidentiary that we were originally planned on running. Your Honor, I would ask the court to not consecutively sentence him. I think at this point, he is losing, very likely about to lose any opportunity he had at boot camp, which was something we very much were negotiating regarding, as the court is aware. And given that, I would respectfully ask that we not do as consecutive and not toward the top of the guidelines. I think Mr. Howell is somebody who needs some assistance. He needs some help. And I'm hoping that the Department of Corrections will be able to assist him with that. Thank you.
Sir, what would you like me to know? Remember, you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like you to know that I'm not a troublemaker. I'm not whatever anybody opposes me and thinking that I am. I'm not that. This is just a love story. A person that's in love with his woman and in love with his kids. That's what I'm not. No, I'm not no career criminal. You see my background, and I don't have a substantial. Like I have misdemeanors. I'm not a felon. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to know, and I want to say I apologize to the courts for doing what I did do as far as communication.
Sir, this isn't a love story. This is a horror story. And you don't want to share control. You don't want to share love. You want to always be the guy in control. And you use your fist. And if you interrupt me one more time, we'll continue this in another 93 days. Because I can. Every word you say will be another 93 days. You're the one that took yourself out of the lives of the mother of your children and your children by your vile actions against them. It is not lost on me, as I said to her, that she came in here claiming fault for all of it. That's your fault. You made her feel like everything was her fault, your imprisonment, you're harming her. Well, you could say no, but I know this pattern very well. I see it regularly, and she should not have thought that it was important in front of you to tell me she lied and she was at fault. She didn't do anything wrong. You did it all wrong, sir. You're not a dad. You're a sperm donor. Even if you didn't lay a hand on them, sir. They know what's going on. They hear the screams, the cries, they see it. You harmed your children as much, maybe more, than you even harmed her. And you can say no, but that denial tells me you need a long time away. You don't think you did anything wrong. You did everything wrong.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
What would you like me to know, sir?
I'm not what you perceiving me as. You perceiving me as a biased person already. You perceiving me as an evil monster already. I'm not those things, Your Honor.
Already? I have a huge history here, sir. I read already some of the things into the record that happened here. Are you telling me that she didn't have a cracked lip, that there wasn't swelling on her forehead, that you hit her with a cell phone, that she had red marks on her neck, a cut inside her bottom lip, redness and swelling around her right eye, you punched her in the face? You're telling me none of that happened?
It didn't happen, Your Honor. It didn't.
Well, let me just understand. She just came into the house looking like that. Is that what happened?
I wasn't there, Your Honor. I'm not sure.
Oh, now you were not there. So when police arrived, that was an image of you? That was somebody else impersonating you?
When?
He literally pled guilty.
I understand.
Yeah, I did. I pled guilty to take a plea. Yeah, for sure. I did that. But I'm not what you saying. You saying that like I'm just some angry monster or something. I'm not that angry monster. Then you call me a sperm donor,
Yeah.
which is very disrespectful. I'm not.
It's not disrespectful, sir. When you assault the mother of your children, you are a sperm donor.
I'm not a sperm donor.
You're a sperm donor, sir. Because fathers do not behave that way. Fathers protect and defend the mother of their children and the children. You did not do that.
Your Honor, you treat me biasly.
Biased how? I have the evidence right here, sir. I have the evidence in your plea, and I have the pictures. And we can go to trial, and let me just tell you, you got a whole lot more crimes here and 4 files that you can go to trial on, including the stalking and the interference and all the other charges that could yet be charged that the people have chosen not to file. I'm not going to withdraw this plea because it was a valid plea, because I saw the evidence, because I heard it, because we've had months of you violating court orders. You need to be behind bars.
And I admit that, Your Honor, that I violated.
Stop.
You did a lot of things, sir, that violate the law. So I'm going to get on with this, and I suggest you don't speak anymore. And you get in your head that the us and the we thing is not an us and a we anymore. She is free to go on with her life and the life that she now has to be a single mother raising 4 children and deal with the trauma that you inflicted. You needed to respect her and you didn't. You needed to respect your children and you didn't. The minute you don't respect their mother, you do not respect those children. As to count 2, assault with a dangerous weapon, and that is in docket 25, you are sentenced to 24 months to 48 months. As to count 3, assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder or by strangulation, you are sentenced to 67 months to 120 months with credit for 257 days.
The hearing before the court involved the sentencing of Tyrone Howell, with Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder appearing on his behalf. The proceedings opened with a brief reference to jail credit, with the court noting that Howell had previously been sentenced to 93 days in contempt consecutively to the underlying files. Before the sentencing arguments were heard, the victim, who was also the mother of Howell's children, addressed the court. She began by formally acknowledging that she had previously made false allegations and provided false information to the court, and said she had accepted responsibility for those actions. She also stated that she had made it clear that the father of her children was not a threat to her or to their children. She spoke about their 4 children, all under the age of 4, and expressed that they needed both of their parents in their lives. She described facing daily questions, tears, and confusion from the children about why their father was not home, saying she struggled to find the words to explain his absence. She noted that one of their children had recently been diagnosed with autism, and that navigating therapies, appointments, and developmental challenges while managing the uncertainty of that diagnosis left her overwhelmed. She also shared that one of their children had never had the opportunity to meet their father at all, and that he had missed countless milestones first and memories that could never be recreated. She closed her statement by expressing hope that her honesty, accountability, and remorse would be taken into consideration, and that the outcome would allow their children a chance to learn love from their father. The judge responded to the victim's statement directly and with considerable emotion. She told the victim she found her statement very sad, but not because the victim had done anything wrong. The judge acknowledged how difficult it was to be a single mother, sharing that she herself was a single mother who had worked 5 jobs and never received child support. She told the victim she understood, and that the most important decision she had made was to choose her children. However, the judge made clear that she did not believe the victim had lied when she originally reported the violence. She referenced the documentation made by the responding officer, which included visible injuries on the victim, red marks on her neck, a cut on the inside of her bottom lip, and redness and swelling around her right eye, all of which had been photographed. The judge described what the evidence showed had happened, including that the victim had been seeing black dots, that Howell had tried to stop her from leaving, that he had punched her in the face multiple times with closed fists, and that he had struck her in the head with a gun and pulled a gun out during the incident. The judge then spoke at length about what the children were learning by witnessing this violence. She told the victim that what children learn about love comes from what they see, hear, feel, and experience. If they watch their mother being beaten, strangled, scratched, pushed, and demeaned, they would learn that love meant those things. She acknowledged that the victim did not want her children to think poorly of their father, and that as a good mother she was trying to protect his image in her eyes. But she stressed that he had caused him emotional trauma regardless of the victim's intentions. She told the victim that she had been made to feel guilty for what he did, and that she had been made to feel as though she had put him behind bars, but that the only person responsible for putting him behind bars was Howell himself. The judge explained that she had held him in contempt for 93 days because of his own behavior, and characterized him as someone who sought control and power over people less strong than himself. She warned the victim that if she died at his hands, she could no longer be a mother, and that the only way to protect her children was to lock him up and get him treatment. She expressed that without intervention, the cycle would continue until someone died or was permanently injured, and that she had seen those outcomes in other cases. She firmly told the victim that she did not deserve to carry blame that did not belong to her, praised her bravery for appearing before the court, and encouraged her to seek therapy and to stop choosing men who express love through violence. The judge then shifted to addressing the pattern of contact violations that had occurred throughout the case. She stated that she had been required to present evidence to other judges 5 or 6 times showing that Howell had been continuously contacting the victim in violation of no-contact orders. He had used other inmates' accounts to make calls, had used fake names, and had attempted to disguise communications in various ways. One example cited by the judge involved a letter Howell had sent using a fake name, Tammy Defina, to an address that had belonged to the victim, while signing the letter with his full name, inmate number, and complete jail contact information. The judge read portions of this letter into the record, in which Howell called the victim his queen, expressed frustration that she had not told him the gender or name of their newborn child, described thinking about her every night, and accused her of disrespecting him by cutting off contact. In the letter, he told her that no one deserved to be treated the way she was treating him, that he loved her and always would, and that he prayed for them every night. He also asked her not to allow their children to see her with another man, and expressed that he needed her and hoped she still wanted and needed him. He included a second letter as well, in which he described missing every part of her and expressed that if she was cutting off contact to hurt him, she was succeeding. He described crying at least once a week thinking about her and the children, crying on their birthdays because he was not there, and saying he was not there to protect them from the world. He told her not to let their children grow up without a father the way he had grown up. He urged her repeatedly throughout both letters to show up to his court date, to write a letter to his attorney, and to either appear in court to say he was innocent or write a statement supporting him. He made clear in these communications that her appearance and advocacy were critical to him winning his cases and avoiding a longer sentence. The judge described how Howell had continued to manipulate the victim behind the scenes. As recently as 5:08 in the evening the day before the sentencing hearing, he had continued to call her, including by using a 3-way call through a friend named Dorian Price to reach her and tell her it was her fault for the contact violations, and to instruct her to come to court and make a victim impact statement specifying that she needed him home for children. The judge said Howell had been telling the victim from the beginning of the case that everything was her fault and that she needed to come to court and recant in order to make it all go away. The prosecutor addressed the court and outlined the full scope of Howell's conduct. She stated that his attorney had done a fantastic job negotiating a plea deal of 36 months, a deal she herself had not wanted to give. However, Howell had been warned repeatedly by the prosecutor, the court, and his own attorney that the only thing that could cause him to lose that 36-month deal was misconduct between the plea and the sentencing, and specifically that he must not contact the victim again. Despite these warnings, he had done exactly that, using other inmates' accounts, having the victim use a completely new phone number, having her use a different person's name, and actively trying to avoid detection in his calls. The prosecutor described a video visit in which Howell told Dorian Price to check the text messages he had sent, and instructed that the victim needed to be referred to as Taylor, the fake name, because they were trying to give him 5 years. The prosecutor stated that on the Monday before the sentencing, she had announced her intent to have the plea nullified and to seek 65 months instead of 36, and that even after that announcement, Howell had continued to violate the court's orders and had attempted to involve his own attorney, without her knowledge, in a fraud upon the court. His attorney had reached out to the prosecutor to inform her of this and to continue advocating for her client. The prosecutor stated that if she wished, she could charge Howell with approximately 9 different counts of felony witness interference, as well as potential conspiracy to suborn perjury and stalking, none of which had yet been filed. She noted that the underlying facts of the case involved Howell repeatedly beating the mother of his children, including while on bond, and that one of the dismissed cases involved drug possession committed while he was absconding from probation on another matter. The prosecutor asked the court to sentence Howell to the top of the guidelines consecutively across his files, specifically 24 months consecutive with 67 months. Defense counsel responded briefly, asking the court not to impose consecutive sentences and not to sentence at the top of the guidelines. He noted that Howell was likely to lose any opportunity he had for boot camp as a result of his conduct, and expressed hope that the Department of Corrections would be able to assist him. He acknowledged that Howell needed help and asked for some degree of mercy. Howell then addressed the court. He told the judge he wanted her to know that he was not a troublemaker and was not whatever others were perceiving him to be. He described the situation as a love story, saying he was a person in love with the mother of his children and in love with his kids.